it's great to have this docu-series out to help inspire people, but also to help keep going. There are skaters of color, both in figure skating in Harlem and outside, and sometimes it can feel isolating. So I think it's a really great story to tap into, whether you need something to feel good, feel inspired, feel motivated, or just want something nice to watch.
All right, folks, we've got a very special guest joining us today. She's the creative director and head coach of the synchronized skating team at Figure Skating in Harlem, helping to pave the way for Black and brown girls in her neighborhood to get into ice skating. You can also catch her on the Disney Plus docu-series Harlem Ice. Let's welcome Ela Epperson to the show. Thank you so much for coming on, Ela.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Bah, 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 bah. What's up, man? How's your spirit feeling first and foremost on this beautiful day in blistering cold New York City?
You know, it's not too bad. At least the sun is out. I'm feeling good. It's a Thursday. I'm happy.
Okay. The sun is shining. Harlem is known for its swag, its brashness, its hustler's mentality. How do those things translate to the ice?
I mean, figure skating is an aesthetic sport, so it's just about as much about, the grace of skating as it is athleticism. And our girls really bring out their personalities. We're from Harlem and the South Bronx, and so those are real places where we really grind out. So their personalities and their perseverance really lend themselves to their careers.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of obviously Black and brown ice skaters, and you all do not shy away from this grit and grind aspect of Harlem that we see every day. Why was that so important for you all to kind of stay true to yourselves in that?
Yeah, I think that it's important in the way that we teach our students and how we teach them to navigate life, to not shy away from who they are and instead kind of step into it and embrace their boldness and embrace who they are in all aspects and all of their capacities, and both on and off the ice. It's really important that they understand to just be and live in their fullness. And so I think when it comes to my job on the ice, working with them, I'm not one to shy away from the music aspects and picking things that they can understand and relate to, but also in the work that I do off the ice with the kids, just making sure they feel comfortable and understanding and navigating who they are as women of color and just as people.
We've been having conversations the last few weeks about what it means to show up as your full, authentic self, representing your culture in spaces that haven't always been predominantly Black, we'll say, right? Like, I just started playing tennis because I'm washed and my knees are finito. But in the tennis space, I feel like I have to accommodate whiteness to a degree. And there's a certain level of my culture that I got to leave at the door. What is that experience like for you and these ladies who, grow up in a culture that maybe is rooted in hip hop, where the songs that you may want to skate to might not be best suited for competition?
I mean, it's a really difficult space to navigate. I think that the figure skating community is making strides to kind of diversify and make more equitable outreach to different communities and understanding, the judging system and how we approach our competitive realm differently. So I think the world of figure skating is changing, but obviously we are black and brown girls, and so in a predominantly white sport, we do stand out, and that goes from our music choices to their musicality on the ice and how they present in competition in comparison to their teammates, which is seen in the docu-series. So I think it's a tricky kind of space to navigate, but there is progress, and that's really important.
Give me a record that y'all skated to that you were like, ugh, all right, we're going to push the boundaries on this one a little bit.
In the docu-series, we have this program, and it was using music from the Black is King album from Beyonce. I think in the creation of making that program, I was just like, I really want to do an Afrobeats program. And that music had just been like kind of speaking to me over the summer. And so when we kind of sat down to deliberate, we did Power. We ended up with Power at the end of their program, which I think speaks to the essence of figure skating in Harlem, but also kind of what we want our students to be embracing and what we want them to be exuding when they step into all kinds of spaces. And so I think that was a little bit of pushing the envelope just a bit, with the record being really, it has a lot of drums and it's very clear what we're talking about here. So it's pushing the envelope in the competitive space, but also just pushing the envelope of what the kids can really embrace and feel, and allowing them to step into their fullness on the ice. And when they listen to the program, how that speaks to them and resonates with them.
Yeah, the docu-series on Disney Plus was released back in February. What was it like for you to see yourself and your team on the big screen like that?
You know, I am so absolute. I think the docuseries, Sam and Elisa did such an amazing job with this docuseries. It's absolutely stunning. I'm not much of a crier, although the docuseries will tell you different. But I was like tearing up when we watched it at the premiere at the Apollo with the rest of our FSH family. The kids just look so outstanding, and it was great to see them in all of these different capacities that I don't get to touch base with them on every single day. So it was great to see kind of their behind the scenes life. Seeing myself on camera personally, that was a bit jarring. Um, but it was really cool. It was interesting to see what your. I mean, once the docu series kind of the filming kept going, you don't really always realize that they're around all the time, and you always have a mic on. So it was interesting to see how I am when I don't feel like I'm being surveilled. So yeah.
That's good. Surveilled. Samaria be surveilling me. She be all. So with today's media, at times it feels like you need a good storyline to promote anything, and obviously the documentary Harlem Ice solves a bit of that. But in other sports, for instance, women's college basketball, we had Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese, and then we've had Juju Watkins.
Yeah.
Is there a storyline right now that we should be keeping an eye out for in the world of figure skating?
I think figure skating in Harlem is the best storyline to be watching. We're trying
Mm.
to build a rink right now in Harlem. It would be the first indoor rink in the vicinity of Central Harlem. It's really important for our students, but also the Harlem community as a whole. I think that we have so much talent in Harlem, in the South Bronx. It would be a great place for future Olympians to be coming out of, Harlem and the South Bronx that's not heard of. And I think that would be amazing to happen. But also, figure skating in Harlem has such a rich history, myself included as an alumni, of helping evolve young women's lives. And we have alumni that go off to great colleges and do great things. Are there in the Forbes 30 under 30 list? And I think that figure skating in Harlem is a breeding ground for successful people in general. And so expanding to have a rink would be amazing. And so I think we're really the storyline to watch.
Does the gentrification of Harlem and New York City as a whole present an opportunity or a hurdle in order for you to get that rink built?
I think it's about how you look at it. Everything has, there's two sides to every coin. So just trying to navigate it the best we can is all we can do and all that we're looking to do.
This reminds me a lot of Fisk University's gymnastics team. I got
Yeah.
to cover them, but they were the first. I'm sure you remember them, but they were the first HBCU to compete at the NCAA level. And for them, their biggest hurdle was getting a space of their own. You've been with this program for years, decades, almost. And so, what would you say was the biggest hurdle when you all were starting figure skating in Harlem?
I mean, it's definitely space. There's limited rinks in New York City. Our home rink right now is Riverbank State Park, but they're a public rink, and so they have other people that rent out the ice, and so having a space of our own where we can control the ice time and how much our kids get would just completely evolve the program. At this point, our students skate on an average of 2 to 6 hours a week, and they're competing against people that compete twice, double that, triple that, as a team and by themselves. And so that offering to our students of expanding the amount of time that they have on the ice, but also in the academic center where we get their educational enrichment would be paramount to, I think, increasing the success of the overall students. So just like Fisk University, space is paramount in this, upwards trajectory.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you about the classroom too, because you're teaching them civic classes and entrepreneurship classes. Why is that so important for you? Just not doing the ice skating, but also in the classroom as well.
Well, I think that student comes before athlete for a reason. You have to prioritize your education. I mean, that's the main thing that we're focusing on here, education and leadership. And the skating is a hook, and it's a great thing to bolster your career. But we really want to look at the student holistically, and that means not just catering to their athleticism, but their mind and, their education is really, really important. How they're feeling, so the social emotional component is really important as well. So I'm a product of our, academic enrichment. We had public speaking classes when I first started, and I was super, super shy. I could not talk to anyone. It was really, really hard for me to get out of my shell and be able to advocate for myself was a huge hurdle to be able to get over. But with the help of figure skating in Harlem and my teachers and the classes that were offered, I was able to kind of step out of that shyness and figure out what my version of leadership looks like and my version of advocacy looks like. Um, and I think that our students all tell a similar story, whether it's the civics class that made them interested in politics or the academic enrichment classes with tutoring that helped them get their grades up and they were able to go to this great college, or the entrepreneurship course that made them want to start their own business. All of our alumni have something that they can attribute to their future success.
Well, you are a phenomenal testament because there is nothing about you at all that looks or comes off as squeamish when it comes to
Uh,
public speaking. Your mastery of language is quite notable. We'll just
Thank you
say
so
that.
much.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the Harlem Figure Skating Gala. What is it, and is it as hard to get a ticket for it as the Met Gala?
Oh my gosh, could you imagine? I think it is quite an exclusive event and it's really hard to get in, guys, but we might make an exception. So the gala is our event that we hold at the end of the year that we get a lot of our donors to come in and we show them what we've been doing with the kids throughout the year. And it's where we get a lot of our funding. So it's a really important event for us. We have some really great featured guests coming in, some honorees that are really important. And it's just a great night to really incorporate something meaningful into your week, to be able to see the great work that we do and meet some of the students and hear their testimonies of the program. And we have a great spoken word poem that's in there that our students create and work on, which is really great. And it's a highlight of the event every year. So the gala, it is quite high end, but we're absolutely looking for people to come, and we encourage you to come and enjoy the night with us.
Before we let you go, I just wanted to know what has been the feedback from the community after the release of the docu-series.
I got spotted on the street the other day, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is insane. This is crazy. But I think overall, it's a really refreshing take on the figure skating story. We have a lot of different stories, whether fictional or real, through the Olympians' lenses that you get to see at the Olympics and at Worlds that just passed. But I think this is a specific and unique story that is really important to be told. Figure skating at home has been around for a long time, and so it's great that we're getting our shine. But just from a equity and diversity stance, and figuring out different ways to make skating more representative of the demographic of the states that we live in, I think is really important. And so it's great to have this docu-series out to help inspire people, but also to help keep people keep going. There are skaters of color, both in figure skating in Harlem and outside, and sometimes it can feel isolating. So I think it's a really great story to tap into, whether you need something to feel good, feel inspired, feel motivated, or just want something nice to watch. I think it's been a great response overall, and I'm really happy about that.
It seems like the days of kids being able to just participate in activities and develop their skills in the dark are over. Everyone is like very, very brand conscious. Sometimes it's more about the optics and the craftsmanship. How has social media impacted the sport of figure skating? And are you seeing a shift in the mentality of athletes and how they're showing up?
I think social media is a great tool. I think that, although there are different studies saying different things, I think that it's all about how you use something to your advantage. I think I've seen so many Olympians were very interested in, their training process. And May Maite, she's a phenomenal figure skater. She took a break and she's now documenting on social media her journey back to getting into figure skating and getting her doubles and what she did off the ice and on the ice. And I think it's a great way to kind of control your narrative and push out what you would like people to know and understand. We see it with this docu-series. I mean, it's blown up on social media, and I think it's a great thing for traction for the program, but also to inspire people about figure skating. I've seen people start figure skating on TikTok, like adult figure skaters. So I think that It's really about how you use the tool and not how it uses you. And so figuring out the best way to, narrate your story in different mediums is really important. And I think it's a great tool.
Yeah, Ela, thank you so much for coming on with us. And you all go check out Harlem Ice on Disney Plus, as well as this amazing gala that they have coming up at the end of this month. It's really going to help give back to figure skating in Harlem. Thank you so much again.